Okay, hello everybody. If you can hear me, send a thumbs up. Okay, Lydia, you're here. I'll let you introduce the professor.
Subiri introduce hapa na introduce just quickly.
Hello. If you can hear me, may I please show me a thumbs up, please? Oh, you can hear me. All right. Welcome back everybody to the session. Welcome back to the session, everybody. I am sure we've got a time to network in our tables. And please make sure once you network, don't leave here without at least 2-3 contacts of people who you think you can partner with. So ahead of us, we're going to get a keynote speech from Mr. Professor Lawrence Muchemi. He specializes in computer intelligence at the School of Computing Informatics, University of Nairobi, Kenya. He has over 20 years experience around research and teaching. He's also an active member of Pan-African organization known the Africa Academy of Languages. So he's also here to share with us, but also to introduce the Sorry, I think my network is acting up. Let me take this opportunity to welcome Professor Lawrence Muchemi for our keynote speech. You're welcome.
How are you, everyone? I hope you can hear me and you can see me. Hello? If you can see me and hear me, please thumbs up. Good. Thank you. I want to share my screen, and thank you, Irene, for that beautiful introduction. Okay. I hope you can see the PowerPoint so that I could start. Irene, are you able to see it? The PowerPoint.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So, as you've been told, my name is Professor Lawrence Muchemi. I am located in the School of Computing and Informatics, University of Nairobi, here in Kenya. But I also happen to be having another hat, and I'm actually with ACALAN, which is African Academy of Languages, which is under the auspices of the African Union. And basically, ACALAN, what we try to do there is we try to promote the use of African languages and, to foster development for Africans and also to foster integration. So when Irene invited me to come here to talk about entrepreneurship, technology, and African languages, I was delighted because at the African Union, of course, you know that we want to promote African languages as a means of, commercial and also as a tool for integration. So today I'm here at the East African Bootcamp for the Pan-African Tech Fund to be able to talk about entrepreneurship, technology, and African languages. So let me start by looking at what is this all about, the factors of production in any business, whatever business you're looking at. And economists will tell you that the land is a key factor of production. And by land, we mean things like natural resources, and we mean renewable and non-renewable resources, raw materials, and so on and so on. We also talk about labor, which is any work performed for an economic reward. And there is capital, which includes money and other assets, including technologies and so on. And very importantly, we do have innovation. So entrepreneurship, which is about establishing innovative ideas. So if you look at this matrix here, you'll find that, of course, land is becoming scarce and scarce, or I mean, when we are youth, when we are young, some of these things are not there. But luckily, entrepreneurship is gaining prominence. And therefore, on the right there of the screen, I've said that entrepreneurs, they will use land, labor, and capital in order to produce a good or a service for consumers. So most of us might be producing services or might be planning to produce services, which is where really our labor market is mainly here in Africa. You should be a good entrepreneur. And by that, we mean that you should be able to identify potential opportunities and also take risks. So now, if you look at in Africa what we have and what we don't have, these are young faces from Africa and youth, and you can see about, if you're a young person, then if you're being told about renewable and unrenewable resources, those ones are not, they are scarce, they are rare. That's if you try to do a SWOT, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats analysis. Capital, that is money and others, again, when we are young, we don't have much of that. But then we also have our own opportunities. And one of the opportunities I'm thinking about here is that we have a youth that is very educated, a youth that is also very knowledgeable, because of knowledge is all over. The internet and everything is making us very knowledgeable. But over and above that, what I want to tell you guys is that we Africans are supposed to solve our own problems. So often, the older generation have been turning to either the West, or they have been turning to the East. You hear that is the debate about whether the East or the West, looking for solutions. But I think this is the high time now that we start now saying African problems shall be solved through African solutions. And that's why I think this forum is very timely, because we are talking about how do we identify these problems and how can we create these solutions. I think we have been told about a lot about this, and for me it's just to talk about it. There's an African proverb here that says that he who that sits at the base of a tree knows what a tree ant eats, because you cannot be far away and know what's happening. So since we are in Africa, we know our problems. All we need to do is to identify them, and we shall move. Now, I want to be given 10 minutes, so allow me to move very fast. But some of the success stories, and I think most of them you have heard them today, like the tour and all the others we've been told about. These are success stories. But I wanted also to pick on people who are sitting on the global scale. These are leaders in the world, and these are people who are using business, and they are using entrepreneurship skills, and they are able to to move around, and they become now global leaders. For example, when you hear Jumia, everybody I think knows Jumia if you have not used it. But Jumia is an online marketplace for electronics and other things. And in Africa, I think Alibaba is not known. This could be the Alibaba of Africa. And this is a product of Africans, young people who have come with these solutions, technological solutions. And they have not only solved problems for Africans to be able to trade, but they have also created wealth for themselves. Another enterprise that came out of innovations from the university, this was a collaboration between a student from the University of Nairobi and somebody from the UK, was the M-Pesa. And I think most of you might be knowing this M-Pesa thing. It's about a mobile phone-based money transfer service. And we can also connect it to the bank. So you can do payments, you can do microfinancing, and bank transfers and so on and so on. Nowadays it's even doing loans and so on. And it started in Kenya. It has spread all over East Africa. It has gone to West Africa. It has gone to Asia. I think it is there. I'm not sure it's there in London, but I think it's getting there, and so on. And another one is PesaPal, which is also a payment platform that will enable Kenyans and other Africans to buy and sell on the internet using M-Pesa and so on. These are some of the success stories from the financials. And I've just picked three, not for any particular reason, but the reason mainly is that they were developed by young people, Africans for that matter, and now they are world leaders. I've picked this one because this one was started by a lady, Ushahidi. And if you're talking about women, technology, and entrepreneurship, then you should be knowing this one. This is Ushahidi, which was founded in Kenya, again, and it develops software for information collection, visualization, and interactive mapping. Now, this tool, it might look very simple when you look at it, just collecting and visualizing and interactive mapping. But let me tell you that somebody talked about branding, and that's very important. You see, now this tool has been marketed as an advocacy tool. So all these NGOs and these people who are non-government actors, they will usually use the Yes, so sorry for that. I think there's a network issue here, but I hope I'm back. So I'm saying that this Shahidi was developed by a lady, and it's being used for advocacy and for crowdsourcing and so on. It's a very successful thing that our young people can use. Hello, can you hear me? I hope so. Yes. So yes, so we can use this one as an example by women who have succeeded. Another example is from West Africa, and this is Life Bank, and it is for critical supplies that you need around the clock. So if you want blood, if you want anything to do with the critical supplies for health, it's a lady again who started this, and is succeeding very much in America, in Nigeria, and West Africa countries. And I think it has also started permitting in East Africa. And we have many other examples in other sectors, like transport sector. For example, the Swift. Yes, so for example, the swivel. So it's for the transportation purposes. I think it started in somewhere in Egypt. Now, when I was invited, of course, we want to look at opportunities that might not be there. And my idea is to try and open your eyes in some areas that probably maybe you had not thought about. And I know some of you could be asking yourselves, African languages and business? How can an African language and business come about? You know, think of Swahili, think of the Fulani, think of the Tigrinya and all the others that we have around. So this can be done. This can be done. And there is a lot of wealth. And at African sorry, today I'm having extra challenges with technology here, but that's okay. So I hope I'm back. So I'm just saying that African languages and business, they are mixable, and that's what I want to show you today. I want to show you one or two success stories about this. And we have the Zivo, which is an African language app, and it helps you to learn African languages, where you can use speaking, reading, listening, and writing exercises. And you can learn things like Swahili and many South African languages like Zulu, Shona, Afrikaners, and all the rest. And to some extent, it has been successful. Then here in East Africa, we do have the Kamusi, for example, the Kamusi Gold, which, of course, is an online kind of dictionary, and it's one of the most successful in terms of bringing knowledge about African languages. And what I want to say is that these may be initiatives, but the owners have also turned them into opportunities that create wealth for them, and of course solutions for Africa. Remember, the two always go together. You cannot have wealth if you're not creating a solution. So you must be solving a problem so that wealth can come around. Then allow me to get a little bit technical. I was trying to avoid to go technical, but sometimes in technology you have to go a bit technical and develop what you call human language technologies. Human language technologies, or HLT. The first things that is required, and this is resource intensive, is data collection and then data curation. So you go collect the data, you clean it, then you put it in a good manner. You organize it in a way that you can identify the various sources, and from there you can create either a text corpus or you can create a speech corpus. So these are basically repositories of the language you want to deal with. So if you're dealing with, let's say, a language like Somali, so you create a huge Somali corpus. And suppose I want to translate between Somali and Swahili, for example. So then I would create what you call a parallel corpus. But then over and above that, because some of us might not be technical, you require to have the algorithms. And these are now where computer scientists come in with the algorithms. And there are many other open source tools that you can use. Some of the work you can do with these tools is written there on the right, like cleaning, annotating, and creating the applications themselves. Now, you might wonder, how do we do this now? And it looks a bit complicated. We don't know where to start. Luckily, at ACALAN, we are trying to go around Africa and create these resources for the people, and have these resources put in a central place where people can access them. And of course, if you have these corpus, you have these tools that can process African languages tools, then now you can now be able to create things like, if I tell you, like if you have your Apple phone, it has the so-called Siri, which basically is a tool that you can use within your phone. But specifically what you're offering at ACALAN are labeled and unlabeled text corpora. Just to avoid being technical here, it means that you can use different categories of algorithms or machine learning methods to be able to manipulate the data to come up with a solution. That's why you need both the labeled and unlabeled text corpora. We are also able to support to some limited extent a few tasks like named entity recognition, things like speech tagging, and so on. So these are the ones that will help computer scientists or developers create the tools easily. And since we're using Creative Commons, you can always have them, use them. And then, of course, if you want to use them for commercial purposes, then there is the protocol you're supposed to follow. We are also trying to support speech conversation because we have understood that Africans, we like a lot of talking. We like speech. Maybe this could be true even for other people, as opposed to writing and reading. And so we are trying to have these speech corpus and so on. We also have these for supporting linguistic studies, like phonology. Why have I put that bullet there? Is because if you're trying to pronounce some certain words, then you need phonology. So phonology is the way you pronounce, you produce words. So we need this speech corpora so that if let's say I'm dealing with a speech system between, let's say, Zulu and Swahili, I need to know how the Swahili people exactly speak and exactly how the Shona or the Zulu people exactly speak. But one of the things that we've been trying to support is the voiced access to information, because we understand that most of our people might be underprivileged in terms of accessing the information, but we want to support through natural language interfaces, and this is one of the areas where we do support. Now, you might ask me then, you've talked about too much jargon. Where is the entrepreneurship? Where is the business opportunities, and so on and so on? I'll only give you one or two opportunities, because as entrepreneurs, you have to do your good market research, obtain the opportunities, see the problems, and so on. But probably one of the areas that has gained traction of late is the voiced access to information. This is whereby you can query, you can query information, or you can have systems that you can get to databases and talk to them. So a lot of governments are finding this as a good thing, although most of it is still at the development stage. But once it is perfected, I can tell you this is going to be a big thing in Africa. The other one is automatic translations. If you go to places like Asia, you go with your mobile phone, you can translate quickly Japanese into English without trouble. You can translate between Chinese and Japanese very easily without trouble. But if I ask you, can you translate between Kinyarwanda and Kibaganda, which are very closely related, or even Kiswahili and Zulu, which are both Bantu? You not get that. You tell me no. And why? These are problems that we have. So people say we have problems, but these are not really problems. They are things that can be turned into opportunities, and you can make business out of some of those problems. And this is what ACALAN we are trying to say. We want to encourage our young people to be able to see language as an area that is still, African language is still virgin in terms of it has not been explored. When Europeans come into Africa, they understand everything, but the language is a bit troublesome for them. So it is still not touched a lot. Another opportunity would be the automatic answering machines. Like when you call your mobile phone, they tell you press 1, then they tell you press 2, press 3. So it would be beautiful, instead of pressing 1, you just say 1 or 2. So if in Swahili, you just say moja, mbili, tatu. And these are some of the tools that we are thinking that could be a starting point. And of course, in Europe and Americas, they have made big monies out of it. If you go to Apple, they have their series, like this Siri. You have the Google speech engines. Virtually every big company has invested a lot in these technologies for languages. And just to end it, sorry, at the beginning of it, only 10 minutes. Mine was to open or to let you open your eyes, like the guy on the right, on the left there, and the child on the bottom there. Try to open your eyes so that you can see that African solutions for African problems is a great mix where you can put your entrepreneurship skills in. What I wanted to say also is that it's not just tools. Maybe I've centered around tools a lot because my background is, of course, is in computer science. Therefore, tools creation becomes a very important thing for me. But as I've shown you, there are areas like advocacy, like Ushahidi has been there, whereby these NGOs and others can use some of these tools. There's also issues to do with the social issues. We have social platforms. The other day, we were trying to see whether we can find somebody who was trying to deal with the hate speech. And the hate speech within social media, within African context, might be very different from what you might find elsewhere. So these are some of the tools that we want to create, and some of the platforms we want to create to help people. And not just the advocacies, social issues, and others tools, there's also policy matters. This is where even lawyers and people who are non-technical can come in very strong. We want to say that we can create frameworks, and we can give them to our respective country politicians to take them to parliaments and so on, because we feel that by learning one language, it doesn't make you weak in another language. For example, if I know my Kikuyu language, it doesn't make me forget the English language, or vice versa. So we want policies that help Africans. Then I would like to leave you with some proverb here. That in Chinese, the word for crisis, or the symbol for crisis, is the same as the one for opportunity. And therefore, in a nutshell, you can say a problem or a crisis is equivalent to an opportunity, and you can always turn it into an opportunity. So I hope I have enticed you enough into looking at unique opportunities. So for me, I was concentrating on unique opportunities where Europeans, Americans, and Chinese are only struggling to enter, and they haven't gotten there. So thank you very much, and you can reach me through that contact there. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Muchemi. That was a brilliant presentation, combining technology, entrepreneurship, and languages. This was awesome, the way you combine languages. And yes, certainly there's a need for us to understand African languages and how they interconnect. And we are grateful for having you here. Do we have any questions for Professor Muchemi? Okay, I don't see any questions yet. Again, thank you very much, Professor Muchemi. We are now going to move along with the panel on women in leadership, which will be moderated by Irene Kiwi, and we will have as panelists Namara Jane and Judith Rangria. Judith is the Pan-African Tech Foundation for Madagascar, Jane for Uganda, and Irene is the sub-regional lead for East Africa. So you can unmute yourselves, because I can see you're all muted. Okay, thank you very much. Irene, you're still muted. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Irene, you're the moderator for the panel, so I'll let you carry on while I figure out how to remove the professor's link from the platform.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Hello, Judith. Hello, Namara. I think Lidya should be joining us as well. But let me just welcome you to the panel and have you introduce yourself, starting with you, Judith. Tell us a little bit about what you do, and then Namara will do the same. Karibu sana, like we say in Swahili.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Elaine. Hey, everybody. My name is Judith Rangianardon. I come from Madagascar, the PATF Madagascar, and I am a lawyer. I am a teacher and a supervisor in international law in a private university in Madagascar. So I gained experience in international law by working at the International Court of Justice at The Hague. And I was studied in France for doing my master's degree in international and European law. So I am very excited to be a part of this East Africa Bootcamp, especially for this panel session. So thank you so much. I will talk about the women in leadership in Africa, so in Madagascar, and about the women education too. So let's start. First of all, I want to talk about the significance or the importance of women in leadership in the society. The definition of leadership by John Maxwell: it's a skill of influence, and it's the most important skill that any human being can master. So when it comes to achieving goals, the womanly skills are well treasured. So let's see some points what magic they are up to. First of all, they are women are bringing a positive changes in the mindset of the employees or the organization. Women are inducing professionalism by sharing ideas, creative ideas, or a collaborative environment. And they can have a multitasking skills and responsibility at the same time. Like we see, women have to take care of her family and the office responsibilities at the same time. They can resolve workplace society, and they can resolve workplace and society issues with their sensitivity and emotional intelligence. Women can also use their relationship building and her communication skills for efficient management. Also, they are dealing with complex situations with patience and intellect. And then they can give inspiration to the teammates because she gives her best and doing it with all her heart. And it's only through a positive and authentic influence that a leader will be considered as a leader for the people and by the people. However, there are 4 types of barriers to leadership for women. First of all is structural barriers. Second, institutional mindsets. Third, individual mindset. And the last is lifestyle choice. Structural barriers include lack of access to important informal networks, such as sporting events, for example. So now let's see, how do we prepare the younger generation of women for leadership with current leadership crisis and the dynamic shift with the emergence of smart technologies and a virtual world? Our Our current education system, as we know, is built on the Industrial Revolution model and focuses on IQ, in particular memorization and standardization. So we must update education with job readiness, the ability to compete against smart machine, and creation of a long-term economic value in mind. Education access, equity, and quality must be improved to solve the global education crisis. According to the UNICEF, 70 million children in a developing country of a primary education age are not in school. So access means ensuring learners everywhere are not prevented by circumstances from being in school and getting an education. Access to education is low in many developing countries, but inequality also exists in developed countries that are highly stratified socially, for example, in the UK or in the USA or in Canada. So the question is, how can countries, particularly developing ones, hold on to talent to ensure economic progress? Equality means ensuring every child has the resources needed to get to school and to thrive regardless of circumstance. While equality means treating every student the same, equity means making sure every student has the support they need to be successful. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, investing in education is the most cost-effective way to drive economic development in the country or improve skills and opportunities for young women and men, and unlock progress on all 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So let's reset education and learning to meet the 21st century need, shaping a path from education to employability and the economic independence. Let's blend as well the lessons of the past with technology of the present and future to truly transform education, giving students the ability to think, to learn, and to evolve no matter what the challenges that await them tomorrow and unleash their potential to benefit to the world. The second point I want to talk is about how can we change the bias in investment among male and female entrepreneurs and ensure we get tangible outcome. So as far as I'm concerned, the government must have the will and political commitment to help women entrepreneurs, and the government must have a national development policy concerning technology. We have to improve access to information in rural areas in Africa, in Madagascar. We have the state, the government must commit to the good governance and women's awarenesses. We have to fight against corruption and reduce the illiteracy rate, especially in the rural areas. And finally, this is just a brief presentation. So finally, I found 5 innovative ways that can help to create more funding for women to lead business. So first of all, we can create a listening center for women and young girls victims of violence. So to create a listening center. The second point is to initiate and introduce young people to technology and unfamiliar adults to a new information technologies. Then we can compete with the mobile operator to reduce the high cost of the internet. We have to carry out an intense information and awareness campaign on the rights and obligations of women, so especially in the rural zone. And the last one is to expand electrification in the most remote rural areas. So that is my brief presentation, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I'm really happy to be a part of this. So thank you so much.
Wow, Judith, that is really amazing. Thank you for that powerful perspective and very practical driven presentation on what needs to be done. Namara, please, the stage is yours. And once you introduce yourself and give any key highlights, then we'll get into a Q&A. Thank you. Karibu, Namara.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Namara Jane is my name. I'm so glad and honored to be part of this camp, entrepreneurship camp. I'm the founder and director of a community-based organization called Hands of Hope, based in Uganda. Hands of Hope works with girls and women from vulnerable communities. I'm also an accountant and an auditor by profession. So being part of this camp, I'm so excited to be part and to take part as a panelist to discuss on what women leaders need to be and why we really want to invest in women. So
Namara, I think we're losing you. I don't know if it's just me. Namara, can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay, I lost you for a little bit at the end. Can you please repeat?
Okay, I will repeat. I will begin by introducing myself once again. Namara Jane is my name. I'm the director and founder of Hands of Hope, a community-based organization found in Uganda. We work with girl, child, and women from vulnerable communities in areas of menstrual hygiene management, reproductive health. We do entrepreneurship activities, and on top of that, I'm an accountant and auditor by profession. Glad to be part of this camp.
Thank you. Well,
and honored to discuss about women in leadership.
Awesome. I mean, when we talk about women in leadership, there's a lot to be done, like we've heard the entire day today. When we look into it further, you know, women generally run smaller businesses than male. And even if you look at the choice of sectors that women choose to venture in and operate in, there's still a huge disparity. And we have heard about some of the reasons, and we've also heard about some of the solutions that could be done. But I want to dive into the Q&A, and I want to hear from you, Namara. What do you think are some of the reasons that there are less women in leadership than men? And when we talk about leadership, look at it from, you know, industry specific, more women in what are termed to be male-dominated industry, or leadership from a political sphere, and leadership from all these different sectors. Can you hear me?
Let's hear a bit, I beg your pardon.
Judith, were you able to hear me?
Yes, I am here. I hear you.
You can take the answer. Yeah, you can take the question if you're ready. So basically, just to understand from your perspective, what do you think are some of the reasons that women in leadership is still a challenge today in 2021, from political spaces to industries that are termed as male-dominated? Why are women not where we need to be when it comes to leadership?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a challenge for us. Sorry, it's my phone. Sorry. Okay. Well, the first and most obvious challenge is maybe I will take an example if you want. For example, the people in the room are men, but this creates an opportunity for a woman to stand out and to create a long-lasting impressive from the scenario. So a scenario might appear time and time again revolves around building a supportive network in a space that males dominate. So the women have to take this chance to seek both men and women as a connection, and mentors maybe will help you along the career path, and often with a full-time role coupled with the additional stress of raising your own family, and it can be hard to juggle work alongside the personal life. So, however, this pandemic has taught us anything is to create a healthy work-life balance. That's my opinion.
Namara, is there anything you want to add to that? You can also share your story if you have any specific times where entering leadership spheres was a challenge and how you overcame that.
Thank you so much. Most times it's hard for women to participate in leadership. In most cases, they consider women as a weak gender. So in those times, women are not given the opportunity. If they are given the opportunity, there are other things that are attached to the opportunity that is given. Maybe they require a lot of money to join, and this one makes women feel out of place. They think a woman cannot stand, a woman cannot be a leader. So this challenge has been everywhere in governments. You find the top places, they're only men that are taking over. And yet, if we would support the women, they would really also make good leaders. So such challenges, I think we solve them by encouraging women to take up the places, to believe in themselves that what a woman can do, a woman can do too. So, and also trying to invest in women also could help to reduce on these challenges and reduce the barriers that and the myths that are attached to women.
Thank you. Judith did mention something about work-life balance. And I am a mom of 3. And today my firstborn actually turns 16. And so during my entire career path, I have been a mom. And I can relate to that, because as women, we want to be there for our children, for our partners, for our extended family. And we also have dreams and ambitions that, we want to also take care of. But then creating that balance. And one of the things that I've seen working really well for me is to building a support system that allows me to focus on what is important at that time. I always say you can never really have 100% balance. There's nothing like that, in my opinion. And the thing that works is, for me at least, is looking at what is the most important thing on that day that needs me. Is it my sons, and which one? Is it my work? So giving to the thing that is needed and making sure that when I'm doing that, whether it's spending time or taking care of one of the children or focusing on work, being 100% present so that you get as much time as possible. And I have met a lot of people, young women, for example, who say, they postpone getting into starting their own families because they want to tick their career box first. And, is there a right or wrong? There's no right or wrong, at the end of the day, we just need to do what motivates us and pushes us, and believing that it's doable and we can achieve the best of what we put in. The other thing I want to talk about, or I want to ask is, when we talk about sectors, Namara, you can share what you think, and Judith as well. When you talk about sectors that are more female-friendly or non-female friendly, what comes to mind? Is there a specific sector, in your opinion, that you think is very pro-women or not pro-women, and what are the issues and what can be done?
I think all sectors a woman can be in them, provided the woman is given the support that she needs. Because a woman, in most cases, women who have the ability to communicate, our communication abilities is so high that if we are not given the opportunity to participate in those sectors, the woman has the ability. Secondly, there are most women that we really look at as our role models. For instance, Winnie Mandela, she has been a woman at the forefront, an activist. So that one gives me a highlight that really a woman, once you come in, there is nothing like this sector is for men, this sector is for women. All of us, we can be in the same place, provided we are nurtured and supported. And then maybe those ones that get to challenges in leaderships, as I said before, there are some sectors that the society outside there look at and think this one is only for men. For instance, taking up the role of our president. We saw recently in Tanzania, a woman had stepped in the presidency. So that one is an example that a woman can also do the same. Still on the political side, I'll draw back from my country. Right now, the government of Uganda, the cabinet ministers, 90% of them are women. That
I think we have lost Namara. As we wait for her to come back, Judith, do you have any comment on the same? Oh, there she is. You're back. We lost you for a little bit, Namara.
Sorry, I was giving an example from Uganda, saying that most sectors now are women-led. For instance, the Ministry of Health is led by a woman, the Prime Minister is a woman. We're having 90% of the cabinet ministers as women. So this gives us the courage and the chance to look at these women-led sectors, and they are being successful right now in the country. So this one gives us the courage that also women who can work in those other sectors, provided we are supported and nurtured well.
Judith, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think women's involvement in peace negotiations, for example, has been found to make them, I read, 30% more likely to last. And women's leadership has been found to significantly enhance business performance as women bring new ideas and a perspective to solving problems and setting agendas. So, but we are outnumbered in the PhD program too, in a biomedical knowledge and growing full of female talent. The issue of gender equality in decision-making roles should be an issue taking center stage as it has in the other sectors.
No, absolutely. And when we talk about gender equality, we also need to look at gender equity. And equity being, when we are talking about equality, where are the women standing? Do they have the same platforms? Do they have the platforms that are needed to bring them to a level where they can access information, access training and capacity building, access mentorship, access. And we are seeing, and we've heard about it, that it is no longer a good to have, empowering women or giving women access or making sure that women are at central stage in decision making and in implementation across industries. It is a must-have, especially if we are looking to have not just an equitable world, but if we're looking to have a world that is progressive, where everybody is thriving, economies are thriving, and SDG challenges are met. And a great example I would like to close us off by highlighting is our new president in Tanzania, the Honorable Samia Suluhu. She just gives me shivers every time I look at her. She leads with so much confidence, empathy, compassion, and she understands what needs to happen, and she understands what needs to be done. And it's just looking or seeing a woman at such a high seat like that, we need to take into account that there is nothing impossible. You know, we have it in us to be leaders, and that's why we nurture families, we nurture our children. Leadership for us is the core and part of who we are. For example, when we talk about technology, the first person to what's the word? The founder of technology is a mathematician who happens to be a woman called Ada Lovelace. So the entire tech industry is based on concepts that were launched by a woman in the 18th or was it 18th century, if I'm not mistaken. So if we are to talk about technology, the coexistence of it, the essence of it came from a woman coder. So how can we even say that, you know, we're not able, you know, don't have it in us? So Elaine, as I pass this on to you, I just want to commend you for the work that you're doing. This is very important and very necessary. And my hope and wish is for us to move from the conversations to actually, which is what you're doing, to getting more people and more stakeholders doing what needs to be done, implementing what needs to be implemented, funding, coaching, partnering, you know, moving from what are the challenges, because we know what the challenges are, to these are the solutions and this is what we're doing about the solutions. Thank you so much, Namara and Judith, for being a part of this. Over to you, Elaine.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, all three of you. That's been really brilliant. It was very interesting to hear the views that you've all shared on women in leadership. And as you're all aware, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 5 is all about gender equality, particularly related to women. And it's been said that gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but it's a necessary foundation for peace, prosperity, and a sustainable world. So with that, leaving that in our minds, I'm going to move on. I think we are due to have a 10-minute break, but I think I will shorten it to a 5-minute break so that we can swiftly move to the final panel, after which we will share the video for Twa, and I believe there's also another video we'd like to share. So thank you very much, ladies. This has been a brilliant session. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Elaine. Thanks.